Hi everyone, and welcome to the State of the North. If you're stumbling on this channel for the first time, as you probably are, you're probably wondering, hey, this is a new channel. Obviously, what are you trying to do? What are you trying to be? And that's honestly a really good question. The truth is, I've been a football fan for a while. I grew up, you play Friday night football, Friday night high school football game, Saturdays college football, and Sundays your NFL team. And since 2020, I've really started to closely follow the NFL, and I found myself yearning for more sports content. I wanted to hear everything about the NFL, the teams, the standings, where people thought they were going to rank up beside each other. And at first, I turned to cable news. I turned to FS1 or ESPN. I turned to them to try to get my sports fix. They were right there. Just with a click of my remote. And I thought I was getting informed. I thought I was getting honest sports takes, or maybe I thought maybe they put them on TV, but they put the people they do on TV because they're honest, they're personable, they're gonna give you honest takes. And unfortunately, I kind of learned that wasn't the truth. The more I watched these power hitters, so to speak, in the sports media landscape, the more I became disgusted. And I didn't know how else to get my sports fix, but eventually I stumbled upon some independent creators on YouTube. Your Tree, That's Good Sports, Tom Grossi, those guys, the Clickbait Sports. I watched those videos, and I realized how much fun, talking about the NFL could be. And maybe even more sad and frustrated about how that's not how those other enterprises do. They focus on giving you hot takes. Those cable shows, they try to get you angry to come back for more. And that's not how you should be doing business in the NFL. The NFL is one of those things that you can talk to anybody from any background, any belief system, and you can have a fun conversation. You can get a good chuckle. And I got that out of those independent content creators. So I kept coming back to them for more and more. And I'd still tune back into some of those cable guys, but they didn't have anything on some of those independent creators. And I was watching these guys, those three YouTubers that I mentioned, they were talking about ESPN, the fall of ESPN and where sports media is going next. And I kind of thought about it long and hard, and something that Tom Grossi said in his video really popped out to me. He was talking about how with just a microphone, a camera, and a love for the game, anything is possible, and you can make it. You just got to work hard. Well, looking back at all of his content too, it's awesome to see where that went. I'm not. I loved what they did, but after watching his video, I guess I became a little inspired, so to speak. And I thought about it long and hard. There is one style of content creation that, to be honest with you, I'm craving for, and no one is providing it to me. So you can either complain about the problem, or you can actually do something to solve it. So that's what I'm gonna do. State of the North is going to be the exact kind of thing that I've always wanted to watch. The AFC and the NFC North are amazing divisions with long histories and amazing franchises. I mean, they're basically the same division. Yeah, you heard me. They are the exact same division. Don't believe me? Just spare me a moment of your time. When you think about the pinnacle of stability, two franchises who you could not tell the game of football without. Which two franchises pop into your mind? I mean, it's literally called the Lombardi Trophy. And the Steelers, other than the New England Patriots, have one of the most, like, this tied for the most? They have 6 Super Bowls. That's more than 99% of franchises, and not more than Tom Brady, but still. These two franchises, when you talk about stability, what you want your franchise to become, you want them to become these two. You want them to become icons. They got dozens of Hall of Famers littered throughout Canton, Ohio. And it's, again, they are the pinnacle of success. Baltimore Ravens, Chicago Bears. These are two teams that won their Super Bowls because of awesome defenses despite average quarterback play. I mean, Ray Lewis, 85 Bears. Need I say any more? You also have two teams who are considered the eternal bridesmaids. They always seem to get a ton of talent around them, but they cannot just get quite over the hump. For Cincinnati, you can't face a California team. I'm sorry, you've lost to 3 California teams in a row for your Super Bowl appearances, and Minnesota is just cursed. But again, these teams have a lot of talent. They're always good teams, but they just can't quite get a hold of that trophy. And when you think of cursed franchises, trash heaps, dumpster fires, the likes of which you've never seen, or you never ever want your franchise to become, these two franchises probably pop into your mind. The Cleveland Browns, 1-15, 0-16. Oh yeah, wait, 0-16? The Lions, they also went 0-16. See that? These are both franchises who have been plagued with ineptitude, failure, and anytime it looks like they're going to get out of whatever cycle of mediocrity they're in, they find a way to absolutely blow chunks. Pretty interesting, right? I haven't seen anybody else point that out, so I figured, hey, in this first video, I might as well try to give you guys a little bit of food for thought. I want this channel to be a one-stop shop for all 8 of these teams. I'm gonna have separate videos. Some days talking at the AFC North or the NFC North. I'm gonna give you guys the best breakdown I can, because there's one thing. There's a reason why I'm doing this format. You're probably wondering, hey, why don't you talk about the entire NFL then? Why don't you do that? Well, a lot of people already do that. It's an oversaturated market, first of all, but most importantly, you end up talking about a lot of the same stuff, and that's not something I'm interested in. I don't want to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. I don't care about Dallas. Please stop talking about it. I'm not going to talk about, I don't want to talk about the Buffalo Bills or the Kansas City Chiefs unless I got a team that's facing them. I don't want to spend my time talking about the Chargers or the Rams. I don't care about those teams. These are the teams that I care about. These are the teams that I'm genuinely interested in talking about. And to be honest with you, that if you do choose to talk out everything, you can't watch all the games. And a lot of these national, the people who talk about the entire NFL, they fall into a little bit of a trap. They watch their locally broadcasted team, and then they watch their primetime games. And then they use stat sheets and highlights to try to cover the gaps. But that's not always indicative of what the game actually was. Sometimes you look at a stat sheet, you think players played awesome, or poo-poo. If you look at the stat sheet for the Chicago Bears, they have the PFF ranking says they're ranked number 4, their offensive line was 14th last year, or whatever it was. Oh, it's not that bad. It's just Justin Fields' problem. But if you actually watch the games, that number was inflated because Justin Fields was constantly running for his life If you watch those Bear games, I mean, he was the offense. He was the only piece that they had really together. I mean, if you want a perfect example of this, week 1, I mean, Justin Fields is rolling out on bootleg. Nick Bosa's right in his face, and if Justin Fields doesn't have the amazing athletic ability he does, he's gonna get drilled into the turf. So, and further, it's just it's just problematic because then you listen to these guys. You're obviously going to have biases towards your particular teams. You are. You have teams you like more than others, so you're gonna talk about those more, whether you realize it or not. I mean, and oftentimes it can get in the way of your objective analysis or whatever. I mean, a lot of these media people, East Coast, West Coast, New York, LA, the same people who had problems with Aaron Rodgers had no problem praising him the moment that he went over to the New York Jets. How much talk have we heard about the Buffalo Bills or even the Giants? I mean, good lord, everyone's talking about Justin Herbert, about how he's like the next great quarterback for the LA Chargers, and guess what? He hasn't even won a playoff game yet. I also want to avoid one specific problem that I have noticed in channels that focus on one particular team. The truth is, when you focus on one particular team, there can be a tendency to get in your own echo chamber a little bit, where either your team is going to the Super Bowl or the Tank Bowl, and there's no in between. The truth is that it's probably somewhere in between. It's never as bad as you think it is, but it's also never as great as you think it is either. So, again, this channel will be a one-stop shop. If you love any of these 8 teams and you want to be able to keep up to date with what your team and your rivals are doing, this is the perfect place for you. This is what we're gonna focus on. This is what we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna have some more videos as training camp is going on. I mean, there's a lot to talk about there. I mean, Joe Burrow injury, fights. There's a lot of content there. You don't need to talk about all 32 teams to make good videos. The truth is, these 8 teams, you've already got a ton of content that you can talk about. So I'm gonna focus on this stuff. If you like any of these teams, please tackle that subscribe button, like the video, and most importantly, come back for more when I post stuff. Obviously there's going to be a lot more stuff to chew on when the season rolls around, but until then, I'll see you guys on the next upload.